I'm here today with Dr. Herb London, President of Hudson Institute and a good friend and colleague. We are here to discuss and to explore his new book, America's Secular Challenge, The Rise of a New National Religion. It is, as you can see, put out by Brief Encounters, and it is available from the Hudson Institute website and from Amazon and all commercial booksellers. Herb, you begin this book with two very important words. I'm reminded of some of the earlier treatises of the American revolutionaries. You begin with the words, "Belief matters." What are you talking about?
Well, what I'm talking about is that the ideas that undergird a society have a profound effect on what we are as a people. It was Toynbee who made the comment that civilizations generally don't die as a result of murder, they die as a result of suicide. The loss of confidence, the loss of your traditions, a loss of understanding about what the society stands for very often accounts for civilization's demise. But that's one of the key points in the book.
You're very fervent in getting this message out. It reminds me of Thomas Paine, who said, "When my country was set afire about my ears, it was time for all good men to stir," or something to that effect. Why are you stirring at this
Well,
moment?
I think that this book is ostensibly a wake-up call. I'm not only concerned about the battles that we're fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq, I'm also concerned about the battles that we're fighting internally. The battleground in the United States is between these radical secularists who, in fact, I think have put their ideas together in the form of a new religion that has an insidious influence on American life. Their numbers are small, but their influence is quite profound. So it's a question of, can we reassert the traditions that gave this nation its strength and its extraordinary character at a time when we're facing this challenge on the world stage?
Are you suggesting in your book that the secularists don't have the truth, so to speak?
Well, I'm very careful in trying to assert that it's not secularism itself, since secularism has been a very important antitoxin against the extremes of religion. I'm talking about a kind of radical secularism, a radical secularism that believes in transnational progressivism, moral relativism, multiculturalism, a loss of confidence in the United States, scientism as opposed to science. So there are a set of values that have kind of come together and coalesced into what I would describe as a new religion.
You talk about patriotism in this book. You talk about it a great deal, and you mention how for some it's become a moral problem. What are you driving at?
Well, what I'm getting at is that there are some who have lost confidence in the United States as a leader of the world and as a nation that is truly exceptional. You know, one of the beliefs that I've had for a considerable period is that with all of its blemishes and imperfections, the United States is the model for the world. And at a time when we are facing the kind of challenges we have in the world stage, it seems to me that we have to understand the nature of the United States and its role in international affairs. We are not simply another nation. We are not simply a nation of equals. The United States has a superior system, and a superior system that many people look up to and want to emulate.
This obviously is a matter of culture and trying to get the culture right, but what you're suggesting is that we're headed in the wrong direction. How do we get the culture right again?
Well, this is the key question, of course, and for me it's a question of the reassertion of these traditions that I think undergird our American system. I think that by and large the American people are extraordinarily resilient, but they do not have outlets, and one of the key points is to try and find those outlets, those opportunities for what Nixon called the silent majority to assert itself. And I do think that we're finding some signs of that in talk radio and a variety of other cultural outlets. But by and large, we need more of them. That is the real challenge, because the elitists in our society do control the barrels of ink and by and large do control the television networks.
What kind of a response has the book had so far?
Well, it's, by and large a positive response, but again, there are unquestionably people who are going to be very critical. Whenever you raise the specter of religion, and obviously I've done so in the book because it is the Judeo-Christian tradition that I think serves as the foundation stone of this society. Whenever you raise issues of that kind, you're going to find critics, particularly in a society like ours that is increasingly secularized.
Herb, at the end of the book, in the conclusion, as I mentioned, you talk about culture matters, which is a nice bookend for the beginning, which is belief matters. And you say, decency, sacrifice, and heroism do not emerge spontaneously, and a great nation cannot retain its greatness while wallowing in a depraved culture. And you go on from there and you say, The secularist agenda permeates so much of American culture, even the language we use, that a serious discussion about secularism's implications is difficult. Any criticism of relativism, multiculturalism, or the postmodern outlook is muzzled by accusations of sexism, homophobia, or sheer intolerance. The only attitude that cannot be tolerated is intolerance. And defining an adversary's position as intolerant often ends the discussion. Seems to me we're seeing a lot of that in today's election cycle.
Well, you are seeing in the election cycle, but I'm reminded of an interesting comment that was made by George Santayana. Santayana once made the statement that the first and overarching responsibility of the tolerant person is to be intolerant to intolerance. And yet we find that there are people who use the institutions of the United States, our Constitution, our First Amendment, to undermine the Constitution and the First Amendment. We should be drawing limits. We should say, you know something, we want to respect you and your positions, but we cannot tolerate those who would use our institutions to destroy our institutions. And that should be a standard by which we engage in any kind of public debate. Unfortunately, it's not.
And I have a feeling we have a long way to go before it comes back. But this book, America's Secular Challenge, The Rise of a New National Religion, by my guest and author, Dr. Herbert London, president of Hudson Institute, is going to get us a long way down that road. Highly recommended for universities, for people who are just trying to get their grounding back, and who really enjoy the give and take of ideas. Even, I suspect, Herb, your detractors will enjoy this book because it will, or perhaps they won't enjoy it because it will create debates that will be very, very powerful. The book is available from Hudson Institute website and from commercial booksellers like Amazon.